video, we're going to talk about what trackables are and how I manage my trackables to make sure they stay in the game. So if you're not familiar, trackables are really, they're just any physical item that has a trackable number on it, and that's all through geocaching.com. So they're assigned a specific number, and then the point of it is just to send them on their way and watch them on their journeys. Like if you remember back in middle school, we had, well, when I was in middle school anyway, we had like those teddy bears that traveled from school to school, and you'd see pictures of them at different schools with different kids. That's the exact same premise. So the whole point is to watch a physical item travel. And it's, in a way, it's like, oh, traveling vicariously, or just, choosing interesting adventures. Like I have one that I want to go to fish hatcheries because I used to work in fisheries. So it's just anything and just watching this physical item go to those places. At its core, that's really all it is. I think that it can get kind of confusing or overcomplicated for people who are just learning about trackables. But at its core, it's really pretty simple. Now, all trackable numbers originate from geocaching.com. However, you don't need to buy a trackable from geocaching.com. Many people design their own, buy the numbers from geocaching.com, and then attach those numbers to physical items to then resell. You can do the same thing. You can purchase, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can purchase bulk trackable codes, but I think you have to buy at least 50, and so you have to be pretty committed to do that, and you'll want to be like having your own item that number is going to go on. Or you can buy travel bugs from geocaching.com. And then what you would do is you would either attach that travel bug keychain to an item, or just take the number from that travel bug and put that number on your own item. So you can do it either way. It's really like whatever that number's on is what is going to be trackable. So for example, I have my line of trackables, and it's called The Journey is the Destination, because that kind of sums up what trackables are to me. So I've got a couple different designs for this example. This is my deer one. They say The Journey is the Destination. I bought bulk trackable codes, and so I am able to take those codes and put them on these coins that I had made. So it's trackable, do not keep, track at geocaching.com, and there's the trackable code. You're welcome to discover this trackable if you'd like. This is kind of my ambassador one for social media and like Etsy and stuff. So it's any item that has that number that either, somebody has purchased in bulk from geocaching.com, or that you got from a travel bug that you purchased from geocaching.com, and then attach it to a physical item. Now, the physical item can be literally anything, as long as it will fit in a cache. I've seen kids' drawings, like a literal piece of paper with a kid's drawing and the number written on it, and that travels around. Stuffed animals, like little cars, coins and things like that. So it can be anything. But one of the big risks with trackables is that people will invest in this code, they'll invest in their item, they'll, send it on their way starry-eyed and can't wait to watch it on its journey, and then all of a sudden it's missing. And what's happened is somebody's taken it from a cache, not known what trackables are, and just kept it as swag. I am so sure that people aren't out there intentionally stealing trackables and keeping them just to be mean. I think that it's got to be so close to 100% of people that think it's swag and don't know what trackables are, and it's maybe their first or second geocache. And I'm saying this because when I very first started, and this is 15 plus years ago, I found an insanely gorgeous metal geocoin trackable. And I had heard of like trackables and coins and just thought that was like the ultimate swag. And I didn't understand the context, and I kept it. And it took a while of playing the game of being a geocacher to realize, like, oh my gosh, this is what trackables are, and I kept this. And luckily I was able to, once I learned, sent it on its way. But because I've experienced that, I know how easy it is for beginning geocachers to do that. If you are a beginner geocacher, or you're realizing that you've done that, it is never, ever, ever too late to send them back out into the game. This isn't a stolen example, but I visited a geocache that nobody had visited in 7 years, and a trackable had been left there 7 years ago, and I found it, and I was able to put it back on its journey, which was so exciting. And I was able to message the trackable owner, and, they were very excited that it was back on its way and hadn't been stolen. It was a pretty remote cache. It was like a 14-mile hike or something, just absurd round trip. Yeah. Anyway, so the point is, people, I don't think, are intentionally stealing trackables. Therefore, it is up to you as a trackable owner, if that's what you are, to make your trackable unstealable. If you're gonna attach it to like such a tempting little toy that a child would want, I mean, as a mom of 2 toddlers, I can easily see how a kid would be in the geocache, be like, oh, I want to keep this, and not looking close enough and just thinking it's swag. And of course you should be checking that closely, but I'm just saying I can see how it could easily happen. So I have a couple of things that I think will help keep trackables in the game. First thing is to choose an item that isn't going to be easily mistaken as a toy or swag. So stuffed animals, or just like little toys, and keychains especially. I mean, keychains are a very convenient way for a trackable to have its code attached, and they're the perfect size. But I think that new geocachers would be like, oh sweet, I got a geocaching keychain, and just keep it. So I would choose items that are either a little bit bigger or a little bit less tempting for children. The other huge thing that I recommend is having a trackable card with it, and you can print these out easy. I have mine on Etsy, but they're business cards that are laminated, and they explain what a trackable is and what to do. And if this is attached to your trackable, it makes it so much more obvious that it's not swag. Especially, for example, like mine. This is not a tradable item or swag. This is a trackable do not keep. So somebody would have to read this and then intentionally steal, and that's so unlikely in the geocaching community. Like, geocaching is such a wholesome game at its core that I just refuse to believe that people are out there intentionally like vandalizing and stealing and things like that. So just for example, for what you could put on your card, what I have on my card, so I read the title. It is imperative that you understand what to do with trackables if you choose to remove this piece from the cache in which it was found. You are responsible for placing this game piece in a new cache within a month of discovering it, as well as logging its movements on the website or app. Please do not remove this piece if you cannot commit to this responsibility. So that's on the front. And then the back. Trackables are geocaching game pieces that are assigned a unique tracking code. The tracking code allows any movements to be logged and tracked on geocaching.com/track. Trackable owners often set goals for their trackables, visit all 50 states, travel to tropical places, etc., and then release it into a cache of their choosing. They then watch as other geocachers move the game piece from one geocache to another. The fun is in watching a physical item travel and in experiencing that journey vicariously. Please respect these game pieces and help them on their journeys if you can. Sending out a trackable is an act of hope and trust by a real individual person. Stealing a trackable destroys that hope and trust. Please be decent geocachers and human beings. Do not keep trackables. Thank you. I just refuse to believe that somebody's going to see this card attached to an item, read all that, and be like, I'm still taking it. Like, I just don't see that in the geocaching community. I just don't. So I think that attaching something along those lines to your trackables is going to set you miles ahead as far as keeping your trackables in the game. So I keep mine, I have my little coins, and I just keep those in a bag. Now, eventually this is going to be separated and the bag's going to rip or whatever, and that's fine. But this gives it like a fighting chance, at least as it's, getting on its journey. So just to wrap up, trackables are just items with numbers attached that people can track, and they like to watch them travel. And it's really as simple as that. It's fun. And once you start doing it, you're going to totally, it's one of those things that once you do it, you just become hooked. And trackables are such a fun, interesting, unique little hobby, that I just can't say enough good things about trackables, and I really want to encourage you to try them out and have faith that people will treat them with respect. I think that people really are mostly good. And I don't think people are intentionally taking your trackables out of the game if that's something that you've experienced. You just need to set it up to be successful. I would love to hear any of your perspectives on trackables, or if this was helpful to you. Definitely let me know in the comments. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you watching this video. It really means a lot to me. I hope you'll consider subscribing, and we can talk more about all of geocaching and hunting and hiking and foraging and all the different outdoor activities. So thank you so much. I hope to see you soon.